Hey guys, Mars Thinking here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. And so today on JP, we are getting new missions for the Cell Max event to coincide with the release of the new Gamma 1 and 2. By the time this video goes up, the banner should be out, so the missions should be live in the game already. If they're not, then, I mean, obviously the guide still serves the same purpose. But yeah, I'm not sure what time I'm going to schedule the video to go up. But the video should be out when the missions are up in the game. So, there was a lot of discussion about this on Twitter earlier today. A lot of people jumping to conclusions before all of the information came out about some of these. Now, some of them will still be quite difficult. But yeah, missions have been added to the Cell Max event. They are very similar to the kind of missions that have been added for like the Red Zone. And you know, a lot of people... You know, Cell Max is hard enough, right? I know there are some people out there, I've seen from comments on some of my recent videos and stuff, people who still haven't actually beaten this event at all. So then adding missions where you have to limit or restrict yourself in some way, I mean, for some people are just going to be impossible. But whilst I don't want to turn this video into a huge discussion about that topic, I made it very clear my opinion on Twitter. You should follow me on Twitter if you don't already, at the Mars Ningen. But these missions, just like endgame content itself, are not necessarily something that you have to do on the day they come out. Like, if you can't beat one of these missions, and maybe you won't be able to beat it for, like, you know, a couple of months until you pull some better units, like, that mission is always going to be there. And at the end of the day, you only get 5 stones as a reward, which, I mean, yeah, getting a couple of stones as a mission reward is pretty nice, but you're not exactly missing out on, like, you know, easy A medals or a free LR or something like that, right? It's 5 stones. So if you can't complete a mission straight away, it's not the end of the world. You will be able to get to it eventually. So the missions that have been added are to beat the event within 8 turns. Now, with some of the more powerful teams in the game, especially when you think about support memories and the fact you get 2 Senzu beans to use, this will not be particularly difficult. There are a few teams in the game that can do this already, and we will go over those a little bit when we also talk about the next one, which I think is going to be the one that most people will probably find the most difficult. And that is, of course, this one in the middle here, to clear Cell Max without using items. Now, obviously, some people, if you have a stacked box, some of us have done no item runs on this event already. I have done a no item run video. Technically, I actually did a run where I only used a support memory, and I didn't actually have to use a Senzu bean. And whilst the community, we've kind of all come to this sort of agreement that support memories don't really count if you're trying to do what we would call a no item run as a challenge, but the game itself does not recognize support memories as support items because they are technically something different, right? So you can actually use a support memory and just don't use the Senzu beans, and you can do this mission. Now, this one still is going to be the hardest for a lot of people, I would imagine, just mainly down to RNG, right? There are so many units in the game that take such ridiculous amounts of damage from Cell Max's super attacks, let alone his normal attacks, that when you start the next turn, in a lot of cases, the obvious clear choice is to use a Senzu bean and heal straight away, which obviously you are not going to be able to do this mission. So this one will be the hardest, and we'll go over a few suggestions after we cover the other 2. And then the other 2, which these are the ones where people kind of jumped the gun and got annoyed too soon, is one of them is to beat the event with a special pose team. So just like the Legendary Vegeta and Goku event missions, you have to use all 6 units from that category. However, it does not include the friend, which I don't know if it applies to this, but there is some leeway with that. Like, for example, when the GT Goku event came out, you could do the Reps of Universe 7 mission by using an LR Jiren friend, because he has a Universe Survival Saga Leader skill, even though he's not a Rep of Universe 7, because the mission doesn't include the friend. Although I don't think there's really any overlap with this. But Special Pose is one of them, and then the other one, which is basically the exact same, is for artificial life forms. Now, obviously, the reason why they've done this is because Gamma 1 and 2 are releasing at the same time. They are on both of these categories. They are ridiculously good units, right? And they will absolutely, like, dominate the Cell Max event if you get them built up. I've seen clips of, like, STR, like Gamma 1 tanking Cell Max's super attack when he's fully built up, and then Gamma 2, he does need to attack a bunch of times within the same turn, but I've seen him after getting like the God RNG turn where he does like 5 supers. He tanks Cell Max for double digits even though he has type disadvantage. Now obviously these clips come from the Rainbow level 10 link showcases, so if you pull one copy of both of them, you're not just going to be able to roll up and dominate the event with ease, but obviously having those units is going to make it easier, which is of course the whole point, right? It's a gacha game, they want you to summon for the new units. However, one thing that we did not know before people started kicking and screaming on Twitter is the fact that when this goes live, like in the data download, actually I think Minato might have said it's live already, although I think it might be after the data download. I think I'm getting confused. But by the time this guide goes up and you're seeing this video and the missions are in-game, they have actually added a boost to the event, so all characters from Special Pose and Artificial Lifeforms do more damage to Cell Max. I think the post I saw was this like 210% or something. So for certain units, that is going to be a ridiculous amount of extra damage. Now, they will still take the same damage, so you are still going to run into the same issues with units getting one-shot by super attacks if it's the wrong unit that eats it. But you are going to be able to beat the final stage quicker, which is the biggest problem with Cell Max for some of these weaker teams, right? Is if it takes you like 10 turns to kill him in the tech phase, that's 10 turns where he's potentially going to super the wrong unit or potentially super twice in one turn. So let's go ahead and look at the categories here. Okay, so we'll start off with Signature Pose. Now, obviously, when it comes to Signature Pose, the number one choice here for team is going to be the Ginyu Force team. I know Truth's done a video of beating it with the full Ginyu Force before the boost was obviously in-game, right? So it's going to be slightly easier to do now. And obviously on JP, you guys have the Easy A for the Tech LR Ginyu Force, which we don't have on Global. So this mission probably will be a little bit more difficult. If you're watching this video like a week from now, when the missions have come out on Global, you're obviously not going to be able to use this guy. But all of the Ginyu Force units are going to be doing extra damage, so this is going to be an optimal team to use. I'm actually really interested to see how units like this Int Gotenks are going to do in this event, because obviously now he gets that extra damage boost. Defensively, he could still get taken out. And even the free-to-play Gotenks and Ghost, I think, could be quite interesting as well. But, well, actually, wait, is he not on Special Pose? No, because this is just the awakened version of him, right? Yeah, because Gotenks and Ghost has a different name. But yeah, so this category, it's not particularly big. We got the Ribrienne that has an Easy A. With her leader skill, because she has a transformation boost leader skill, that will cover a few of these units. But it definitely seems like, looking at the category, like the Ginyu Force team is the way to go, right? If you don't have the Gammas. But considering the fact that most of the free-to-play Ginyu Force units are somewhat runnable, you are going to have to obviously get good RNG, potentially use the Planet Namek Saga support memory to get the extra buff. But units, obviously, if you have the optimal suite of Ginyu Force units, like Jason Berta, Rakuman Guldo, the Dokkan Fest Captain Ginyu, the LR, the free-to-play LR, well, they're both free-to-play, the Tech LR as well, and then for the last option, you're probably going to want to run, like, Captain Ginyu, because he's got type advantage. Maybe Jace, because the Scouter effect is so useful, but you just kind of have to keep him hidden, right? Because even post-super, he's going to take a lot of damage from Cell Max. But Special Pose, definitely going to be a tricky one if you don't have the Ginyu Force. But obviously, remember, on both versions of the game, Captain Ginyu has returned at least once. And as, you know, the best TUR for such a long time, he's definitely a unit that was worth picking up with your red coins. So if you didn't pull him at all from either of the banners that he's been on so far, hopefully you did pick him up with coins. And then Ginyu Force is going to be the way to go for this team. Now, when it comes to Artificial Lifeforms, this is where you get a little bit more leeway, right? Because you can build varying different versions of this team with like Android builds, with like AGL Cell. Obviously, the Metal Coolers are on here. I wonder if you could do this with the free-to-play Metal Cooler team. Probably not, right? I don't know if their defense is quite good enough. But that is potentially an option. Boo units. I mean, Kid Boo gets an STR, gets a 200% leader skill with one of the Gammas, or both, I can't remember. So he's going to be dishing out tons of damage when you think that he's now going to have a 200% leader skill and is doing 210% damage. Like, he's going to be racking up numbers, which is going to be pretty cool. But yeah, this category, now I did bring up a screenshot here from the end of one of my videos, I did actually do a run against Cell Max using AGL Cell's team. Now, this did take me multiple attempts, but as you can see from the screenshot, in this run where I actually did manage to win, I actually didn't end up using either of the Senzu beans. So technically, in terms of the missions, this would actually have cleared the no items mission as well. And of course, this was quite difficult. And the reason is, as I mentioned previously, the fact that the team didn't really have enough firepower. So it took so many turns to actually kill the tech phase. So obviously that made the run very dangerous. However, now if I was to do this exact same run again, all of these units would be doing just over double damage. So when you get the turns where AGL Cell does like triple supers with crits, he's going to be absolutely tearing through Cell Max's health bar. So obviously this is an option for the kind of team you can build. Adding Metal Cooler in there was definitely a nice advantage, what with the revival. I think he finished him off after a Dokkan attack and then an additional. But that was the team that I used to beat it, and this is an Artificial Lifeforms team technically. So you could use this team build even if you don't pull the Gammas. Obviously if you do pull them, it's going to be a little bit easier. Now when it comes to the 8 turns and the no item run missions, this is where you're going to start wanting to bring out the big guns, right? So Movie Heroes, obviously if you pull the Gammas. Movie Heroes is probably, I would say at this point, almost undeniably the best team in the game. The 2 Gammas together are ridiculously good. And then the team has units like the STR Piccolo and God Goku that are ridiculously good tanks. We have the SSJ Goku with the Revive. Good tank, can do good damage. The Gods obviously can put out tons of damage once they've transformed. Hopefully they're getting dodges if Cell Max is supering, or after their supers once they've transformed, they actually tank him for double-digit damage. So very, very good. Movie Heroes is just a very, very strong team. So this is a solid option. Even before the release of the Gammas, I've seen people do no item runs with this team. Or if you're using like the Gods as the leads, obviously you can throw on units like the LR Super Saiyan 4s as well. So I've seen the stage no items with Movie Heroes. And then the next best bet, obviously we're bringing out the big guns from the from the Worldwide Download celebration. You've got either Wicked Bloodline or the differing build right with LR Cooler, where you're essentially running Terrifying Conquerors crossed with movie bosses. So this team, obviously very, very good. Cooler puts out tons of damage. STR Cooler with the support. Wicked Bloodline you could run. Obviously, we have the support memory now. I quite like to run the team with LR Metal Cooler as the leader and then a friend STR Cooler and basically just run a full Wicked Bloodline team. And then obviously you can throw on the support memory because, as we've already discussed, when it comes to no item run missions, you can still beat the mission in the game even if you use a support memory. So the Wicked Bloodline team, very good. A standout unit that people forget about is this free-to-play Namek Freezer, because he gets damage reduction when his guard is activated. Now, he only guards in a general sense when there's a Goku family enemy. But remember, against the tech enemy, he guards as well. And the final phase of Cell Max is tech. So he's actually quite good defensively for tech Cell Max. He's obviously not the best tank in the world, but bring him on the team. He's a good free-to-play option. With the Wicked Bloodline support memory, he can be very good defensively. So either of these, like the big ticket teams, right? The Wicked Bloodline teams, the Anniversary LRs, they're going to be the units and the teams that are going to be able to get through this the quickest for the 8 turns and for the no items. So here's another screenshot from the run that you guys have probably seen. This is when I did the no items run. Now this was Cell Max beaten with the global LR Cooler team, and as you can see from the team build, STR TUR Cooler didn't have his EZA yet, so I couldn't use him. And I also wanted to purposely restrict myself, just to kind of make it more of a challenging run, to only using units that are on Cooler's leader skill. Because that's another thing I haven't mentioned, of course, the strats with using units like AGL Pycon, the tech androids, basically just bringing them on the team for that Ghost Usher ability. Because especially on the Movie Heroes build, Pycon, you get that Ghost Usher off against Cell Max and then float him off in the 3rd turn. That gives you 3 turns to kill him before Pycon comes back and then gets you absolutely destroyed, unless he dodges. And then you're pretty open to just being able to beat him down in those couple of turns. So there are a couple of options, but as I said, this stage has been no items before any of these category boosts and some of these newer units that have come out, including the Gammas. So as I said at the beginning, Obviously, not everybody is going to be able to do all of these missions, especially on day one. But as I said, don't be disheartened by this, right? You know, end game content is supposed to be the hardest content in the game. Not everybody is going to be able to beat it straight away, especially depending on the power level of your box. And then when it comes to them adding missions that are literally making those events even harder, you're not necessarily going to be able to get them all done straight away. But the missions have no expiry date. Like somebody said on Twitter, one of the reasons they thought these missions were annoying is because of the whole gacha concept of like fear of missing out, right? So you want to summon for the new units so you can beat the missions, because otherwise you might not be able to beat them. But as I said to them, fear of missing out, part of the concept of that implies like an actual expiration date, right? That's how you miss out, is that you didn't manage to do the mission in time. But these missions have no expiration date. So in the future, if they release a crazy busted new Boo and a couple of units for him to make a full Martian Power team, they're all on artificial life forms. If they bring out a crazy new busted like Gotenks, he's going to be on special pose. So units are going to come out in the future that will make these missions easier for you to do if you are unable to do them on day one. So don't lose heart if you can't do them straight away. The missions will always be there for you to come back to. So let me know what you guys think down below. If you actually do get some of the missions done, come back to the video and let us know down below in the comments section which team builds you use to get them done. And obviously if you are summoning for the Gammas, I hope you get good luck, and I'll just be patiently waiting as a global player till they come out next week so I can summon for them. So let me know all your thoughts down below, and like I say, let me know the teams you guys use to beat the missions in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new, check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.